Today we're talking about Torchlight. No, not the famous and universally loved Torchlight 2, not Torchlight 1 either, even though 1 was also pretty fun. What about Torchlight Frontiers? Did you even know that game existed? Well, we're not talking about that either because that died so Torchlight 3 could live to then also die a few months later. Torchlight has been bounced around between different dev teams ever since its original creator, Runic Games, was shut down soon after they released a single-player action-adventure game called Hob back in 2017. Now we've got yet another Torchlight game by a completely different developer. I don't know if any of the original dev team are working on this game, mainly because I don't really want to research it. Nevertheless, let's talk about this new game, the much anticipated sequel to Halo Infinite. That's right, it's Torchlight Infinite. Depending on how much I decided to edit that introduction, you either have been seeing the ridiculously good-looking cinematic trailer for Torchlight Infinite, or it's starting right now. Torchlight Infinite is a live service, single-player action RPG that is free to play and will be a game for mobile and other platforms, of which I'm assuming PC has to be one of. Now I know what you're thinking, it's free to play, so there must be some kind of microtransactions or cosmetic shop planned, and I'm here to tell you that, yeah, you're absolutely right. We'll talk more on that in a sec. Taking place 200 years after Torchlight 2, completely skipping, I guess, Torchlight 3, Infinite promises the Torchlight experience we all know and love, created by a team that are huge fans of the original 2 games. I do want to point out that they didn't say they were a fan of the 3rd game. They're really out here just throwing shade. It boasts the name Infinite because of the quote-unquote infinite possibilities in terms of character customization. In Infinite, instead of you creating a character, you'll choose from a selection of heroes, 4 of which have been revealed so far. You're seeing them in the trailer, with more to be added after launch, hence live service. These heroes have their own names and storylines that you can apparently dive into the game via different quests. They also have tons of skills and talents, all of which can be extremely customized, kind of similar to how Path of Exile works, minus the gems and the confusion, hopefully. The devs also advertised the game's infinite loot, which I mean, technically, most loot-based games have infinite loot. Kind of what happens when you have tons of randomized stats and affixes and suffixes and rarities. I digress. Oh wait, it's also infinite because there's gonna be randomized dungeons, which also exist in literally every action RPG nowadays. I'm actually excited for this game. I know it might be hard to tell. I just wonder what the marketing team is doing. All I get from this is, it's an action RPG, it's Torchlight, which I guess is all I really need to hear, but I'd like some convincing as to why Infinite is so much better than other action RPGs, or why I should play Infinite over something else in the same genre. What loot-based action RPGs don't feel infinite? Ones that no one plays, I guess? I don't know, it's just a weird way to market a game. We don't have crazy details on this game. There's a devlog that shares some info, and I'll leave it linked in the description for you to check out. It goes into some specific things, one of those being loot. Legendary loot. It sounds like Legendary will be the rarest and potentially most powerful gear in the game, sporting the orange beam of light that we are so accustomed to. The devlog says that Legendary gear will be extremely rare, oftentimes only rarely dropped by bosses. These items have better base stats and have special powers unique to them, and they can be build defining. There's also some kind of crafting in the game, or the ability to adjust stats on non-legendary items to fit a build you're going for. Besides that, we don't have much info on the loot. It sounds like your typical action RPG. I'd love to get access to the mobile-only beta that's going on right now to give you more information, Torchlight Infinite devs if you're listening, but for now, that's really all I got in terms of important need-to-know info. My thoughts on this: honestly, I'd love a good new Torchlight game to play. I loved 1 and 2. I still have 2 downloaded on my PC. As long as there's loot to chase, and loot that actually feels rare and powerful versus thrown at you every 20 seconds like in Diablo 3, I'll totally play it. If they can somehow capture the magic of Torchlight 2 again, I'm totally down. The only caveat, and this is a weird one that many of you probably haven't even realized yet, this is a single player live service game with a cosmetic microtransaction store. That's weird. Is there even a single player live service game in existence? Has that been done before? Here's the thing with cosmetics. I buy cosmetics in Destiny and in Rocket League, but I buy them, obviously because I like them, but mainly to stand out from the crowd, to look different, to be my unique character, to have my unique style apart from the millions of other players. But this is single player, so you won't be seeing anyone else, so why even buy cosmetics? I didn't understand this months ago when I talked at length about the cosmetics in Assassin's Creed Valhalla, another single-player game, so maybe I'm just dumb, I don't know. Another huge problem with cosmetics in loot-based games is that why would the devs make a legendary sword, for example, look badass when they can sell you that badass sword cosmetic in the store for real money? Devs purposely holding back on making rare gear look cool to sell you something that actually looks cool in a microtransaction store sucks. If you finally get your hands on a legendary piece of gear after hours and hours of grinding, only for it to look like, I don't know, a regular shield but a different shade of brown, is dumb. Character progression in loot-based games is not only addicting because of skill progression, but because of visual progression of your character from the loot you find. Being level 100 and decked out in legendary gear but still look like a noob versus someone who just logged in for the first time and used their mom's credit card to buy a $20 armor skin to look like an epic demon slayer ready to storm the gates of Tartarus at level 1 is dumb. A cash grab and will 100% kill an action RPG for me. If loot still changes how you look in Torchlight Infinite and rare stuff actually looks unique and rare, then cool, I'm totally down to play. But if it goes the route of games like Marvel's Avengers or Anthem or other lesser known and now dead action RPGs that forced visual progression through microtransactions, there is no doubt in my mind that this game will end up just like them, devoid of players. That's it for me. Let me know what you think of all this. Give me your opinion on cosmetics being sold in these kinds of games. We'll talk more when there's more news on the loot in Torchlight Infinite, or if I happen to get into the closed beta. Like the video if you enjoyed it, that'd be dope. Subscribe for more legendary loot news on tons of loot-driven games. And if you subscribe today, you'll get plus 10% Magic Find, and who doesn't like Magic Find? Until next time, Jared out.